Happy Friday. Welcome to this week's live. Actually, my second live for this week because it was catalog release day and I went live and shared a quick catalog flip through and a quick project. If you missed that, you can catch the replay up on my YouTube channel. My name is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Alberta, Canada, and I am excited to be here today to share another One Sheet Wonder. So this is back-to-back One Sheet Wonders. Normally I just do one a month. And I guess it'll still work out to one a month because I did one at the end of August and then one at the beginning of September here. All right, I'm just going to make sure that I have sound because a couple weeks ago I had issues with sound. I want to make sure that all is good before I get too far into it. Okay, looks like I've got sound. All right. Okay, welcome. So I just wanted to remind you, because we are at the beginning of a release of a couple brochures and mini catalogs. So we've got the September to December Stampin' Up! Mini catalog, or the holiday mini catalog. That went live on the 4th, and then we also have our scrapbooking brochure that went live on the 4th as well, which is full of exciting new scrapbooking products. If you follow me, you know that I love to scrapbook, so I'm super excited about this collection. And right before I went live, my order came in. So I will be doing a separate live today over on Facebook, which I will post to YouTube afterwards, doing an unboxing of this scrapbooking product. I'm thinking maybe about 1 p.m. Mountain Time today. I'll do that because I need to unpack it. It was mixed with a bunch of other stuff for an upcoming class and stuff too. So you can look forward to 2 lives today. All right, so today we are going to do a One Sheet Wonder. And I love One Sheet Wonders whenever I need to make a lot of cards. And usually at the tail end of the month or the beginning of the following month, I need a lot of cards to send out to my team members. So I usually turn towards a One Sheet Wonder. And so the initial designs that I created for today's One Sheet Wonder are not Christmas. But then I want to share it with you. So I like to use different products so that I can show you kind of 2 different variations. So today I'm going to use a product from the mini catalog. It is on page 18. It's called A Little Bit Festive. It's a specialty DSP. And the reason it's specialty DSP is because you get 3 sheets of double-sided pattern paper, but then you get 3 sheets of die cuts pieces as well. So this collection makes for really quick and easy projects. The only thing you really need to add is a greeting set if you're making cards. Okay, but it's also great for scrapbooking. When I went live the other day, I shared a little peek at this mini album. This is a class that you'll see coming up, but this mini album was also created using this collection. So I wanted to use kind of the bits and pieces that I had left. So I'll just do a quick flip through. This is a little pocket. You can add a photo. It's very interactive. There's lots of little flip outs and some tags and just a fun way to kind of document your holiday season. So I love creating little mini albums. They're so fun. And then here you can slide another photo in as well. So I still have lots of pieces left. So I thought this would be the perfect opportunity. Let me set that aside. Okay, so I have 1 sheet of 12 by 12 pattern paper left from that collection and a partial piece. I'm not going to use the partial piece because we're going to do a One Sheet Wonder. And then I have lots of die cut elements left. So I've got these ones and then I've pulled out some to use for the cards today. Okay, so we're going to pull this out. Now the other supplies that I pulled out in case I wanted to use them, well, I need some card bases. I decided to keep it simple. And we're just going to use thick white card bases. We're making 7 cards, so I've got 7 card bases here. You can switch it up and cut different colored card bases. Like I said, it's all about keeping things quick and easy. I also pulled out some gold foil in case I want to include some gold in there because there's gold foiling in some of these pieces. I'm not sure if I'll use it or not. We'll see. And then as far as stamp sets, I pulled out 2 different greeting sets. I pulled out the Christmas labels and Peaceful Season. And this, I actually pulled out the bundle because I thought I would use some of these little tag or label shapes. Okay, so I pulled out 2 greeting sets. Now, if you aren't using something with a bunch of die cut pieces, you'll want to pull out something that you can use for your focal point as well. I've got 2 different ink colors. I chose Real Red and Night of Navy because both of these have Night of Navy in them, and I thought some little pops of red would be good. And then I also pulled out some embellishments. I thought these opal rounds from the annual catalog would work really well with this collection because there's navy, there's yellow, which could serve as gold, and then there's clear. And then I pulled out some navy linen thread and then some white twine because if you know me, you know that I always use twine. So we pulled that out, and I think that's it for supplies. And of course I've got my paper trimmer here. So now let me share. I did create a little template, so you can print this off. I posted a link in the description where you can find it. You'll also be able to find it in tomorrow's blog post, which is where I will share photos of these cards. But this is how we're going to cut our pattern paper. And then before we get started, I wanted to share the cards that I did using a completely different grouping of products. So I used the Wildly Flowering DSP. And can you see that shimmer on the word celebrate? I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Not really, hey? But I colored the word celebrate with Wink of Stella. So it's got that nice sparkle to it. So I did 3 cards that are the same. So again, when I use a one sheet wonder, I'm looking for quick and easy, something that I can, make multiples of, and they're not all going to the same person. So it doesn't matter if the cards are all the same, right? So those 3 are pretty similar. And then I have this one, which I switched up a little bit. So instead it's a little bit of a smaller piece, pattern piece. And then I added some circles and then a greeting over the top. And then we've got this one. So this pattern here is the back side of this pattern. I really liked this pattern. So I stuck with that pattern for most of the cards. Again, you'd get a lot more variety if you used front and back of both. And then here I used 2 of those smaller pieces. I just flipped them over so there's a bit of contrast. And then there's the last one. So I was able to make a bunch of cards for my team members to acknowledge their accomplishments for the month of August. Okay, so now we are going to go ahead and cut our DSP. Now my DSP is not directional, so it doesn't really matter how I put it in. And I'm going to cut it. My first cut is going to be 5 1/4. And I really need to bite the bullet and order a new paper trimmer. I have worn my paper trimmer out. And then I'm going to cut it into 3 strips of 4 inches. Okay, so that's the first strip that we're going to cut. Now this one we're going to cut at 3 inches. And then again at 4, so that we've got 3 pieces that measure 3 by 4. So if your paper is directional, it really doesn't matter how you cut your paper. You'll just switch up the orientation of your card. Okay, so now this piece the remaining piece should be 3 3/4. So we're going to cut a 5-inch strip. And another 5-inch strip. And then we have a 2 by 3 3/4 inch piece left. Okay, so the cuts are really quick and easy. So let me go through the pieces that you should have. You should have 3 pieces that measure 4 by 5 1/4. You'll have 2 pieces that measure 3 3/4 by 5. You'll have 3 pieces that measure 3 by 4 and 1 piece that measures 2 by 3 3/4. Okay, so those are the pieces of pattern paper that we're going to use. So I'm going to set these aside. Okay, And so the first card that we're going to do, remember I created 3 of these. I'm just going to set this up here so you can see that one. I'm going to take my white card base, fold it in half, and then I'm going to take my 3 pieces. And actually I'm going to work on all 3 cards at the same time, I think. So I'm going to fold all 3 of them. Okay, let's get these out of the way. Okay, let's try flipping one of them over and we'll see what it looks like. Now, I wanted to replicate this strip across, so I did go ahead and cut some strips here. Just grab the pieces that I've got. Okay. All right, so I've got my strip of white, and then I cut a strip of red to go underneath so that we have a little bit of contrast. And then I also cut a strip of navy. And this one, I thought, this one was a little bit busy, so I did cut a piece of vellum to go in behind. And this vellum piece measures 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And that's a great way, if you've got a busy pattern, that's a great way to kind of mute that pattern just a little bit. Okay, and now I pulled out these 3 elements that I thought I would use for these. So this is going to replace kind of the leaf. So whatever you decided to use as kind of like an accent piece, that's where you would replace it. And I'm not going to use the word celebrate because these are larger kind of focal points. So I am going to change it up and do a different greeting. Although celebrate would work for the holidays, right? And I might actually put this up the middle. I don't know, we'll see. I'm just gonna, because I haven't designed these cards yet, we're just gonna kind of play around. Okay, so I'm thinking something like that. And then I wanted kind of a longer greeting, so similar to that. So I thought the word Christmas on here, on these 2 would be good. But on this one, I'm gonna switch it up. So we're gonna go ahead and stamp Christmas. Now I need to decide, do I want it in red or do I want it in navy? Maybe I'll do one of each and we'll see what it looks like. Let's start with a red one. And I might actually do the red one on this card. There's a little bit more red there. So I'm going to ink this up. I'm just using real red, which is one of the colors that's in this collection. All right. And we're going to stamp it close to the right-hand side, as close as we can go. Because remember, our focal point or our accent pieces are quite large for these. This one is nice and small. Okay, so we've got that one, and then I'll clean this and I'll do the next one in navy. Grab my stamp cleaner. All right, so we've got that. Actually, I'm going to leave out my navy because I'm going to use this one. I'm going to do this one, and for this one, okay, I can't remember what I was going to do with this one. Let's have a look at the greetings. Oh, I think I was going to do wishing you and yours, which I don't have on a block, because I pulled out an inside greeting that I wanted to add. Okay, let's grab a block. stamp that on this side. Let's pull this out. This is going to go on here like that. Make sure this is straight. Okay, and then we don't just want it to say Christmas. We should probably add a Merry in there. So there is a Merry Christmas, or you could use Happy as well. So we're going to do Merry. So I'm going to ink or grab a block for that and a scrap of white. Let's see here. And I think we'll switch it up. We'll do Merry in navy for this one and Merry in red for this one. Okay, and I'll give this a clean. All right. Okay, we'll worry about the insides in a little bit. Okay, let's move this over and we'll bring one of these in first. We'll start with this and I'm going to trim this down so it's a little bit smaller. And you can use your paper trimmers for this. I'm just going to use my snips because it's faster. Okay, so this can get added to the bottom. So there's no gold on this one. You could replace this for gold because there is a little bit of gold on these ornaments. You could emboss that Christmas with gold, and I think that would be really pretty. I think that word Christmas would be beautiful embossed. Okay, so I'm just leaving about 1/8 of an inch of that red peeking out. We can go ahead and adhere this. So on this card, I did distress around the edges. These are a little bit more, I don't think the distressing really goes with the whole feel of these elements, so I won't be distressing on these ones. Okay, and this I did pop up. I think I will pop this up as well. So let's grab some dimensionals. Let's see here. And we'll just pop this up. And we'll put this right about here. This is going to go over top. This could go here, or we could put it on this side, maybe with a little bit of navy twine. Let's try it. A little bit of navy twine underneath. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Twine just makes everything, it finishes off everything so nicely. I love my twine. So I'm not going to put a dimensional in the middle because it's going to sit over this raised portion. Let's see, do we want it straight? Yeah, we probably want it straight because it's likely hung from here, right? Like a regular stocking. Yeah, we'll do that. All right, and then I'm gonna put, actually I'm gonna use a little mini glue dot for this, and I'm gonna put it right here where it's not raised because that way the knot will end up being about even with the raised bit. So it's not adding any extra bulk. So at an angle like that, and then this guy is going to get a little piece of a dimensional. So I'm just going to cut a narrow strip. And I'll put a mini glue dot on here as well. So cute. All right, and then we'll finish it off. Let's do, I think for this one, I'm gonna use some clear dots. So we'll put one down here and then a couple up here. All right, so I'm going to set that aside. There is card number 1, and again, here is the other version of that. So then we'll do card number 2, which will pretty much follow the same kind of pattern. But because they'll have different focal points on them, they will look different. And we can put this on. And then we'll pop this one up just like we did the last one. And then this is going to go on here like that. So this one, I'm probably only going to put a couple dimensionals just at the top. Let's cut a little piece here. All right, and then we'll trim down our Mary. And I think we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to use a little bit of navy twine. This twine comes in a package of 3 different colors. I believe you get copper clay, you get a green, I think it's garden green, and you get this navy. I actually don't know if it's navy or it's meant to be misty moonlight, but it looks more like navy to me. And it is in the holiday mini catalog. It's part of the Nests of Winter suite. Okay, so we'll use a little piece of a dimensional here. And then a mini glue dot. I tell you, these die cut pieces, these die cut elements make for such quick and easy projects. They are amazing. There we go. And we'll do some clear ones on this one as well. All right, there is card number 2, and we'll stamp the insides once I have all 3 of them done here. Okay, so for this one, we can go ahead and adhere this. So this one actually, this does have some gold foiling on it, so you could replace this one with gold foiling as well instead of navy. And we can adhere this piece. And then I want to do some playing around just to see how I want to lay this out. Okay, so I'm going to put that on there. Now I can put this lower. I could do that. Or I could put it in the middle. I think I prefer it lower. And I'm thinking maybe like a little bit of a figure 8 kind of thing with this twine underneath. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so we are going to, I prefer to use seal adhesive when I stick my vellum down. So I'm just going to use a little bit kind of underneath where this strip is going to go so that you can't see my adhesive. I'll center this so they have a nice even border. And then this I'll pop up. That'll cover our adhesive. Let's use our grid on our glass mat here to line this up, make sure it's straight. That looks good. Okay, let's see. Now, actually now I'm having second thoughts. Let's see, what if we just tied a bow? And I don't need to include twine. I just like to include twine. All right, let's tweak this so it's a little smaller. Yeah, I think I like that better. Okay, so we'll just use a dimensional here, and then maybe I'll just put a little bit of seal adhesive. That's gonna go on there like that. We'll trim this. Add just a little mini glue dot for our bow. And then I think for this one, we're going to use the navy dots. All right. And there is card number 3. Okay, let's see what we've got for greetings for the inside. I know with this one, wishing you and yours a season of wonder and happiness would be perfect for the inside of this one. So that's what we're going to use for this one. Because while we've got all of our ink pads and everything out, we might as well do the inside. Now there's no scraps of pattern paper or anything left from this particular One Sheet Wonder. We're going to use everything on the outside of our cards. But there may be some additional little embellishments that you could use from this collection if you wanted to add something to the inside. Okay, let's see what else I've got here. So we've got Merry Christmas, friends and family are the true gift of Christmas. Or, I like this one, thinking of you with warm feelings and a wish for all the merriest. So let's use that one. Let's put this on here straight. And we'll stamp that on the inside of both of these. Okay, and then we'll do this one as well. So our first 3 cards are done. So you can see that they follow the same basic layout. So there are cards 1, 2, and 3. So we'll set these aside. And then we're going to work on, I can't remember which one I did next. It doesn't really matter. Okay, then we're going to work on, let's do these 2. Okay, so we're going to bring in the next 2 sizes. So we've got 3 3/4 by 5. We've got 2 of those, and then we've got this, I think it's 2 by 3 3/4. So let's try maybe like that. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so we'll grab our next 2 card bases. And this one. Okay, and then for these cards, I don't remember what I was going to do. I think for this one, I was going to do this. And let's see. This does feel like it needs to go this way, doesn't it? That feels a bit too busy. That's the thing when I do this too, when I plan this too far in advance, I don't remember what my plan was. Okay, this really does feel like it needs to go this way. So let's do this, and that feels like it's a little too busy as well. Maybe we need another piece of vellum on here. Let's work on this one. This one's pretty easy. Okay, actually first, let's see, we could add a greeting to the outside of this. Now I've die cut a couple of these labels. I think this would be nice underneath here. And on here we could do joy and love to you. That would fit on there nicely. Let's do that. We'll stamp that in some navy. Again, embossed in gold would be quite nice as well. Okay, and then we'll stick this down. Right in the center. This is going to get popped up using some dimensionals. Okay, but before I stick that down, I want to determine, now I could do some white twine kind of in behind here, peeking out. Or let's see, I think I've got some gold twine left. Yeah, I do have a little bit of this gold twine. We're going to use this. So this is something that we carried a few years ago. We carried it, actually I think it may have just retired last year. You got it in gold and silver. So I have a little bit of the gold left. So let's see if that's big enough. This is quite a big, oh yeah. Quite a big little embellishment here. Okay, we'll trim that. And then we can peel the backing off of these. Right in the middle, and then this guy can go across like this, Or is that too big for that? Or maybe we don't put a greeting on the outside. We just put a greeting on the inside. I actually quite like it just like this. I think I'm gonna leave that off. And I think I might use the yellow ones this time. All right, and then we'll stamp a greeting on the inside. We'll set that aside. We can maybe use it on another card. Okay, now this one, we might have to throw in an 8th card because I don't know that I like these two patterns together. If you look at this, these two look good together, but this one it's a very simple, actually let me pull back. So this is the version of this card, and then this is the one that I'm working on. We might have to use this for a different card because I'm really not a fan of that. It's just too busy. But I do want to strip across. So I'm going to grab, maybe I'll grab a bit of green and we'll pull in some green from here. So I think that is garden green. So let's see here. Just want to figure out, yeah. Okay, we are going to use this here. Set that aside. Do I want to do green or do I want to do red? Let's grab a little piece of red and see. Okay, real red. Let's see. I think I would extend it past, oh, I like the red better. Yeah, definitely the red. Okay, let's see. I want to extend it a little bit longer than this piece. So that was 3 3/4. I do like the width of this. So this is 1 1/2. And we want it more than 3 3/4. Okay, this is 4. That'll be perfect. So this is my kind of process on how I do my cards. So I'm kind of basically just talking you through what I normally am thinking to myself. Yeah, I like that. That's nice. Okay, and then hope your season is filled with magic. We can stamp that right in there. That'll be good. We'll stamp that in navy. Okay, Carolina, Stampin' Up, as far as I can remember, they don't put their cardstock on sale. However, we do have, on occasion, we do have free shipping days. So on a minimum order, you'll get free shipping, which means that you save like the 11% shipping. But as far as I can remember, I don't think that they've ever marked their cardstock on sale. I might be wrong, but because I know in November, like for Black Friday, they do have a sale, and that sale differs every year. And it's possible that they may have, this doesn't look like it's inking very well. I'm going to clean this and then try it again. They may have, like years ago, put it on sale, but I don't think so. That's not normally, like if they have a sale, it's usually like a DSP sale or a stamp set sale, or they've got like some other promotion going on. But free shipping is probably your best bet. And that they offer like 2 or 3 times a year. You probably won't see another free shipping until maybe in December. It's hard to say. All right, there we go. think my navy might need to be refilled here. Okay, let's go ahead and adhere this. So we've got a little bit of a wider border, so this piece is just a little bit smaller than the first 3 cards that we made. And then we're going to put this across. I'm going to put this on flat. And then this will pop up using dimensionals. Popping something up on dimensionals is a great way to kind of add something to your card. It's amazing how different a card can look by just adding a bit of dimension to it. This is going to go on here like that. And I probably could have put it lower like I did this one, but that's okay. And then we'll grab a little bit of navy twine. And a mini glue dot. And we're going to add that right on here. And then I think I'm going to use the navy ones for this card as well. So we'll do one there and then a couple up here. All right, coming along. Okay, so those are cards 4 and 5. Oh, I guess we should do something on the inside. Okay, so this one doesn't have a greeting at all on it. So let's see. Let's do wishing you and yours. We'll stamp this in navy. A season of wonder and happiness. We'll combine the 2 greetings on the inside of this one. All right, and then this one says, hope your season is filled with magic. Let's see. We could do just Merry Christmas on the inside. The Christmas is just so big though. Let's see how it looks. You know what, I think we can make it work. Let's make it work. All right. And then we'll do the word Mary. Let's put the word Mary on this side. All right. So cards 4 and 5 done. There we go. Okay, I'll put these up here. And then we've got 6 and 7. So now we're going to be using these pieces. So we're going to use 2 of them for one of the cards and 1 of them for the other. So we can fold our last 2 card bases, and we still have 1 more piece. Okay. So this, now I've got a strip across here. I did not cut a strip because I was thinking of using these little ornaments and kind of having these popped up on here. like that, and then having this on here like this. So now we don't want our ornaments just hanging in mid-air. These do have some gold elements on them, so maybe we'll use the gold. All right, so for this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip over the ornaments and just take a little piece of gold, and I'm gonna use some dimensionals to hold these in place. I'll grab a fresh sheet of dimensionals here. I'll kind of put that down low enough. You can also just use a piece of tape to hold it in place, but I'm gonna add a dimensional anyways. And then we'll just trim these. These don't need to be very long. And we'll repeat that with all 3 of these. Okay, now we'll position these on here. I've got 2 round ones and then this one other shape. So I'm going to position this one first, and this one's going to go kind of in the middle and a little lower. And then we'll do the other 2. A little bit higher. Kind of like that. Now that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some Scotch tape, and I'll just use a piece of Scotch tape. See if we can do 2 of these at the same time. Maybe we can even do all 3. Let's see. So I just want to make sure that this is straight. Oh, now it's sticking on itself. And it's not quite long enough for this, so I'll just grab another piece. All right. So we've got our little ornaments hanging. That can go on there. Because there is some added dimension on here, I am going to use dimensionals to stick this on. It may add a little bit of extra bulk. So extra postage might be required for this card because there's a double layer of dimensional. This is going to go right in the middle. And then that's going to go on there. So I'm just going to use some mini dimensionals, just kind of on either side here. Put that on there like that. Super cute. Okay, and I don't think I'm going to add any. I'm not going to add any bling to this one. I'm going to leave that just like that. I really like that. Okay, now this one is this one here. So I'm going to offset these. So I'm going to adhere this one to this one. Now combining these 2 I find is not as busy as the other when I use these same patterns on the other card. Just because you're only going to see that other pattern just peeking out just a little bit in behind. And then when I stick this on, I'm going to make sure that the blue gingham is straight. All right, and then I've got this. I'm going to stamp Joy and Love to You. We'll do it in navy. And here I combined a little piece of the Moody Mauve jute and some linen thread. So for this one, I'm going to combine some white and some navy and tie a bow. It's kind of a fun little look. So this is a really quick and easy card. And this shape was die cut using the dies that coordinate with this Peaceful Season stamp set. But you could use any label shape. Okay, so that's gonna go on there. We'll use a mini glue dot for that. I'm going to make my loops just a little bit bigger. We'll put it at an angle, and then dimensionals for this guy. And then we'll finish it off with some dots. For this one, I think I'm going to do clear. And there we go. So that is that card there. Super cute. All right. Okay, so that was 7 cards, but we still have this one extra piece because remember on this card, which one? Let me find it here. So this one I used this extra 2-inch piece on here, but I found it was too busy with the patterns that I've chosen. So I still have these 2 elements left. I'm going to grab another white card base. Nope, that's not white. There we go. All right. So we're actually making 8 cards from this One Sheet Wonder instead of just the 7. So let's see, do we want to do that? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut a layer of white, and I think I'm going to do an embossed layer on here. So let's grab a piece of white and my paper trimmer. And we'll cut this, let's cut it the same width as this. So this is 3 3/4. And we'll do by 5 so that we have a nice even border all the way around. And then we need to emboss this. So let's have a look at what, oh, you know what embossing folder I'm going to use? I'm going to use this birchwood embossing folder. So I'm going to add that. I'm going to be off camera for just a second while I emboss this. So this birchwood embossing folder is a new embossing folder in the mini catalog. It is also part of that same suite. I believe it's called the Nests of Winter suite. The one where the blue twine is from. All right. So that's going to add a little bit of texture to that, which will be quite nice. And then remember I pulled out that gold? Maybe we need to add a little bit of gold on here. Let's see. I'm just straying. Maybe we need to do this pattern. Yeah, I like this pattern better. Okay, so let's bring back the paper trimmer. I've got just this little scrap of gold foil. Okay, somebody asked about the gold thread. This is retired. It was just some retired twine that I had in my collection. So unfortunately, we don't have any at the moment. I wish we did. Okay, so I'm going to cut this 3 3/4, which is the same width as that, and then I'm going to cut it in half. And it doesn't really matter if it's perfectly in half because I'm just going to have a little bit peeking out the top and the bottom. And I don't like to use liquid glue with foil, so I'm just going to use some seal. Just have a little bit of that peeking out. And then this is going to go across here. Now we need to decide. I like that. And then we need a shape for our label. Let's see here. I don't think it'll fit on there, but this will fit. Is that too big though? Put that in the middle. I don't like it in the middle though. I like it off to the side. All the best. Okay, you know what? We're not going to use any dies for this. We're going to do all the best. Stamp it in some navy. And I'm going to fussy cut this. You can cut it in a rectangle if you are not a fan of fussy cutting, but I really like the look of cutting around your greetings. So a little tip is don't try to cut right on the edge of the image. It's more forgiving if you leave a little bit of a border. And I am moving the cardstock, not the scissors. You'll end up with a smoother cut if you move the cardstock. This video is going a little bit longer than I had intended because I had to throw in this extra card. That's what happens when you don't plan the projects ahead of time, right? But that's okay. We're getting eight cards out of this one sheet of 12 by 12 pattern paper instead of just the 7. And I've got 8 more Christmas cards done. All right, there we go. I like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and adhere our layers. Put that on there like that. And then this guy will go on next. That looks straight. This guy will go on using dimensionals. Okay, do I want to do it there or do I want to do it up here? I think I want to do it up here. Okay, and then I want all the best. I think I'm going to use a little bit of gold twine here and just do a bow. I really wish, I think in the holiday catalog we should always have gold twine. But I'm also a twine lover. You could also use some gold ribbon if you wanted to. So put that there. So I'm going to put the knot underneath, like so that it's not on the tree, it's beside the tree. So it'll be the same height, and then we'll use a dimensional on this side of it and put some flat adhesive. Make sure we got it going the right way. And then we'll use just a little bit of the, actually I think I'm going to use a mini glue dot on this side. All the best. Okay, and then I think we'll use some of these yellow ones to pull in the gold. Although, no, I think we're going to use a blue. No, we're going to use the gold, the yellow. All right, I think this is my favorite card. All right, so now I want to find something to stamp on the inside. So all the best. Hope your season is filled with magic. That's perfect for the inside. And then we've got 8 cards done. Oh, I need to re-ink this. Okay. All right, all done, inside and out. Okay, let me bring them all back in. So just a reminder, all of these cards were created using the, I think it was called the 'Tis the Season. No, a little bit festive. Specialty Designer Series paper, which I believe is on page 18 of the mini catalog. So let's pull these cards in here. Okay, so we have our first 3, which kind of follow the same kind of pattern. And then we had our next 2. And then our next 2. So that guy and that guy, and then our bonus card here, which I think this one's my favorite. I love it. I love it. And then here are the alternates. So something not Christmassy. So there are the first 3. And then we had, this was kind of mimicking the poinsettia one. And then this one was this one. So we changed that one up just because I didn't like the pattern paper. And this one is this one. And this one is this one here. So you can see, depending on the supplies that you use, you can really change up the look of the cards. And then again, this was the bonus. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one sheet wonder, along with the bonus card. I will have a full supply list in the description below. If there's anything that you would like to order and you live in Canada, I would appreciate you ordering from me if you don't already have a demonstrator. So thank you so much for watching. Have a fabulous weekend. And if you do end up creating these cards and share them online, make sure you tag me. I would love to see what you end up creating. Thanks so much. Have a fabulous weekend. Bye, guys.